a lot of people say to me that they a lot of people say to me, Eleanor. They say Eleanor. That's my name. Okay. A lot of people, right? A lot of people say to me, Eleanor. They say, Eleanor, you seem like quite an awkward, mumbly, weird sort of person. And I always just say, I don't know what circus is. No, my mother's became trying to remember that. You guys good?
Yes!
Okay, just to clear this up, I'm very aware of the fact that I have some boob sweat here, so I wouldn't normally point it out because it would be lost to history, but it's being recorded, so I don't want whoever's editing this video to be, staring at me for hours and hours as they try and put this into something here and just be like, the boob sweat, didn't even notice, rude. So I do know, actually, it's not really built for this sort of weather. I am Scottish. I just can't be bothered doing the accent. So, is anyone else Scottish in? Any Scottish people? Just me. That's fine. That's cool. You should come sometime. I mean, it's not a socialist utopia, but it's not here. I'll say that. It is not here. I have been trying to improve myself, trying to be a more interesting person. I did one of those, those DNA ancestry tests you can do now. Do you know those? Yeah. Did one of those. Yeah. Has anyone done one? No. No. No, we're not idiots. Well, I did, and I didn't know what to expect, but it came back, and it was interesting. It was 97% white, sure, but no, listen, 3% also white. Very good use of £200. Trying to be more grown up, take more of an interest in the environment. But I'm sort of worried that the birds in my garden think I'm a pervert. I put one of those plexiglass feeders up on my window, and for me, it's quite peaceful watching them go to and fro, trying to identify the species. Beautiful. But for them, it's a woman in her pants watching them through a curtain while they try and eat. And I'm just saying, if that was a restaurant, you wouldn't go back. Trying to be more grown up. Got a spare towel now. Don't even use it. Just in case. People come over now, I'm like, hey, you want a cup of tea? You want to sit down? You want to see the towel? I've got others. One of the bad things about being more grown up is now I'm having to go on a lot of hen nights because for some reason all my friends have decided that their mid-20s is when they're getting married and having kids, which is confusing for me because I had it all mapped out in my head. I was like, guys, you're a bit ahead in the itinerary. Okay, what is this mid-20s? We're meant to be trying MDMA just now. Where are all these babies coming from? So this is freaking me out a bit, making me feel like I'm not proper grown up because I'm not getting married. But I have been on a lot of hen do's, and they're just like they've become a thing, right? They've become a thing, and I don't know if it feels like it's out of control, right? So like hen nights, stag nights. I don't know why they're called. I mean, what could be more romantic than two animals who would die if they tried to have sex? But the hen night, right, so the first one I went on was very reasonable. It was just a night out, okay? Then the next one I went on was like a night out and then brunch the next day, okay? But then after that, it was a weekend in the Cotswolds. And then the last one I went on was 4 days in Spain. And next week I'm going to Japan for 18 months. And it just feels, like, it's very... This is a lot of effort. Anyway, so I went on one a few months ago. We all assembled, as you must do in a regional town. Not your regional town. That would be far too straightforward. No, it's got to be one that none of us come from and is difficult for all of us to get to. And then once you've assembled, you will put sashes on and do what a great big bird tells you to do. So it's a bit like being in Brownies. I think it is. I never went to Brownies. I didn't see the point. I thought, what's the point of spending my free time being bullied in same girls but in different uniforms? Do you know what I mean? It was you gotta choose your hobbies carefully. So the what's she called? What's the big hen? What's the big hen? Big hen. The giant hen. Maid of honor. So the maid of honor. So then she has to organise all the organised fun, because it's not fun unless everyone's having a scheduled fun time, okay? So you've got to think, what are we going to do? We're going to do the yoga. Are we going to do the cocktail making? Are we going to do the dancing? We're going to go out for a meal. Are we going to have a spa experience? Are we going to play volleyball or archery or smelting? Are we going to join the French Foreign Legion? You know, what's it going to be? So some ideas were thrown around on the WhatsApp thread. Someone suggested pole dancing, right? This is a thing now. People do pole dancing at hen nights. And I sort of feel like the kind of women who do pole dancing at hen nights for fun are the same women who judge women who do it for a living. We thought it might be a bit naughty if we did some pole dancing at the hen night. But not for money, that would be bad. We're just going to be a bit sexy, a bit fun. Just a bit pole dancing. But not for a wage, because that's shameful. We're going to go down to the red light district and score some crack. But not for exchange of monetary value, because that would be sick. I didn't want to do pole. I'd already done a pole class once. It's meant to be very empowering, right? It's meant to make you feel very good about yourself and the way you look, and you're meant to own your sexuality and things. But all it did for me was teach me that I have no upper body strength whatsoever. Yeah, it's not fun to find that out in your underwear. And I can only master one of the moves. It's called the fireman, and what happens is you go straight from the top of the pole right to the bottom. And you get paid very badly for doing it. That's a joke about firemen's wages, guys. They need more. You're meant to feel very good about yourself, right? And I didn't. I was there with three much thinner girls, okay? And they looked very beautiful, wrapped around the pole like wisps of silk. And I looked like a rotisserie chicken. So pole was out. I vetoed that. So someone then suggested, next suggestion was escape rooms, okay? This is a big thing now. Has anyone done an escape room here? And they sound so fun. If you've not done one, basically what happens is you give someone £40 and then they lock you in a room for an hour and then they let you out again. But they pretend they might not. But they do. Legally, they have to. They do. So, it's like puzzles. You've got to solve them in a certain amount of time. Think of it like the Crystal Maze, zones and puzzles and things. But instead of grabbing money out of the air at the end, you're throwing it away, okay? It's like that. Also, I feel like it's a very white hobby. I don't know if anyone agrees with me. I just feel like it's a very white people thing. I mean, I don't feel like any other race would volunteer to be locked up like that. I think they're not as trusting as we are for very good reasons. I'm just saying, if you had a grudge against us as a race, you could just tell us that there was a Harry Potter escape room in the warehouse over there, and a very quick way to get rid of us. I also vetoed that because I already do an escape room quite regularly with my landlord. What happens is he forgets to fix the latch on my front door, and I have to try and get out of the house before the broken boiler overcomes me with carbon dioxide fumes and I die. And it's good, and it only costs £800 a month, so money well spent. In the end, what we chose at the end was crazy golf. Yeah. So a woo there for crazy golf. And you know what? I think the craziest thing about crazy golf is how not crazy it is. I don't know why it's called. Is it called that because it's small? Because I'm quite small, so for me it was sort of normal-sized golf. I mean, I did try and take it seriously. I was worried about doing that because I'm very competitive, and I was worried I was going to be too competitive. And I think it was fine, but I'm not sure. I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't have brought a caddy. So there's the hen, and then of course there's the wedding, and everyone gathers in a room and talks about how great you are. And I find that very depressing because I might never get married. And I think the closest thing I could get is if I went missing. I think that's the only other time you get all my friends and family in a room to talk about how great I am. Eleanor she was beautiful and kind and just a lovely soul. And the buffet is open. I now pronounce her legally dead. Thank you so much, everyone. And then, of course, after love, marriage, there is the inevitable pressure from society to procreate. We all know the rhyme. So after all the hens and the weddings, I have to go to a lot of baby showers. And part of that, this new thing that people do now, I think it's American, is gender reveal parties. Right? Has anyone been to one of those? No? What happens is your friends are expecting a baby, so they invite you round and then they reveal that they're idiots. And so, like they might have a cake, for example, and they cut the cake open, and if it's pink inside, it means it's a girl. And if it's blue inside, it means it's a boy. And you know what? That's fine, good for them. I'm happy they're happy. I don't know why they're so keen to get my reaction about their baby's genitals. My reaction's going to be the same either way. Feigned delight. Like, what do they want? Like, wouldn't it be weird if they invited me round and they got a cake and they cut it open and it was pink inside, so it was a girl? And I went, oh, that's a shame. I really wanted it to be a boy. It'd be weird. I think what I'd do, I thought about this for ages, and I think what I'd do is if I was expecting a baby, I'd invite everyone round and I'd have a big cake and I'd cut it open, and then it would just have gender is a social construct written through the middle, because yes, it's good to be funny, but it's also good to be on the right side of history. Okay. I'll tell you before I go, I really wanted to know what my sister would do if she had a gender reveal party, because she is weird. Diagnostically, right, I'm not being rude. She did a test and she found out that she's borderline Asperger's, okay? And no, she's happy with it. There's no downsides. In fact, she came back, she said, yeah, it's borderline Asperger's, but don't worry, I'm going to take the test again and get a higher result. I said, don't worry, Katrina, you don't need to take the test again. The fact that you want to take the test again and get a higher result means you got a higher result. Anywho, I said, what would you do? What would you do? And she thought for ages and ages. And then she said, okay, here's what I'll do. Right? Expecting a baby. Invite everyone round. Get a big cake. Cut it open. And then it'd just be full of spiders. I don't know what that means. Guys, you've been so lovely. Thank you very much. Good night.